Today you're going to meet an awesome couple from Canada who are investigating to see if their business fits better in El Salvador than where it is now. So hold on to your hat to see something inspiring. Hi there, I am Jenny Adi, and I am here to help you guys meet Andy and Juliana.
Hi.
Hi guys.
From Canada, and they have been here for the last 2 weeks. They came down to do their own investigative tour of El Salvador, and yeah, it's been a whirlwind of 2 weeks, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's been interesting. Yes.
And this is their first exposure to coming down to El Salvador. And first of all, tell them a little bit about what you do and like where you're from.
Sure. So thank you, Jenny, for having us here. It's been great to meet up with you in person. My name is Andy, my wife Juliana. We have a business that is based out of Calgary, Alberta, and aviation consultancy firm. We've been operating now for the past 12 years. And yeah, it's been great. It's availed us a lot of the opportunities to travel to places such as El Salvador, all around the world. Um, Seeing different places and enjoying different cultures. And most part, whenever we're traveling, we get to interact a lot with the locals because we'll be typically on a trip anywhere up to 6, 8 months at a time. So we really get to enjoy and see a lot of the sights around the world. So it's been a really great experience, and likewise El Salvador being part of that.
And really integrating into the culture and the society that we're able to experience every time.
Yeah, and that's the thing, as world travelers, once you get out of your box, your original box, and you start to break down some of your paradigms and some of your expectations, well, isn't life like this for everybody?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, well, apparently not, because these people aren't living like I'm expecting that they would live. But being that globetrotter, having that globetrotter experience and having to see different cultures and things like that, and it's just like, well, El Salvador could just be the next, check the box on the list. But then why come to like look deeper? Why not? Why are you, not thinking, no, Canada, I don't think so. Why not Malaysia? Why not all these other places? Because you guys have been everywhere.
So yeah, you do bring up a good point because obviously, everybody recognizes that the world has been changing a lot, including Canada, where once it used to be the haven for business opportunities and give you the chance to be an entrepreneur, to build a small business, to be successful at it, and to reap the benefits. Equally, we've over the past decade have seen a rapid decline in the benefits cost to benefit ratio for operating a business and such as our own. So politically, political unrest and other things have changed the culture and the just the overall uh, uh, view of what Canada looks like nowadays. Kind of what, or in comparison to what it used to be even 10 years ago. So things have really changed. And, when we first started our business, things were obviously very lucrative and were great for us to go and travel. And of course, give back to the culture of our country in Canada because we love it. We've lived there most of our lives, all of our lives, and but as we said, a lot of people resonate with our feeling is that it's no longer the opportunity and it's no longer the type of climate where people such as ourselves, entrepreneurial background and attitudes are welcome any longer. And so these are things which obviously make us want to look elsewhere and to see what else is out there, right? So
Yeah, and like Juliana, I mean, you're kind of like the backbone of the business. I know Andy's kind of like the pretty face of the business, but you're the backbone of the business. And even in doing business in Canada, what have you noticed over the past few years that
There's a lot more bureaucracy when it comes to getting things accomplished back in Canada. One of the main things is that you see this reluctance to, if you don't engage in a certain way of thinking or believing, you're going to be canceled, or you're going to not be considered as a credible individual. So it's really being able to hold to your beliefs and your standards of conducting a business, and having to be able to do it freely without having somebody say, well, you offend me, or you've done something that they defined as offensive. So it kind of makes you walk a very fine line between what is offensive and what is not, and you really don't know what that definition really is, because it's very indeterminate.
Mm-hmm. And then naturally you kind of start feeling like you have to think 3 times before anything you say or anything you do, and it's like double checking yourself so much.
Yeah.
That's not freedom.
No, it's not at all. And even just like when we planned, like many years ago, it was much less expensive to book tickets and hotels and travel out of Canada. And now all the fees, the taxes, just the cost of traveling and conducting an aviation-based business is very difficult now because of the costs that are associated with travel.
Yeah, exactly. And so you guys took a quick plane ride and came on down, and you've been here for 14 days. And overall, like, first of all, what's the thing, I guess, that has surprised you the most about El Salvador?
Well, El Salvador of all places, right? I mean, because to tell you the truth, for myself personally, 6 weeks ago, I wasn't
This
as
wasn't
aware.
on the radar.
Yeah.
It's like El Salvador didn't even come
Cut
up.
to the chase, yeah.
It didn't come up.
It
That's
was-
just 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That was just 6 weeks ago. We had talked about it, I guess briefly. My wife talked to me about it, and I don't recall, but she said she did.
Yeah, exactly.
So
It wasn't a frequency he didn't hear.
that El Salvador was becoming more and more an environment where entrepreneurship and just all around this vibrancy to new business, new opportunities, and new jobs and other things, all here, all fresh. And so we decided, you know what, now's good a time as any. The sooner the better. Let's go check it out, see it for ourselves. We've been to some other countries, in Latin America that are similar, but we've never been to El Salvador. So it's been an eye-opening experience, and a very good one for us, I would say. Yeah.
I think once you get over the initial like culture shock in some ways, you start seeing this energy and this vibrancy to people, and their desire to have something new and create something different in the country. And that's really inspiring, because you see the people's energy, and you yourself are getting energized by it. Like, how can I contribute to making their lives better? I have something that I can provide, and a skill, and maybe this can change and revolutionize their way of life. So it's been really a good experience in that respect. I think a lot of North Americans, when they're coming over, I think they're comparing to places like Mexico or Costa Rica, and you can't do that, because El Salvador is very different to either of those places. And I know I did that. My initial was like, oh, it'll be like Mexico, or it'll be like Costa Rica. I've experienced these places, I know what it's like. And we like to say that it's like a newborn country. It has so much opportunity, and yes, things aren't perfect, but they're changing, and you see them actively changing on a daily basis, which is amazing.
Yeah, and that's something that I don't know any other country that has been able to pull this off or do this, since way back in the U.S. when
Yeah.
the U.S. was just starting in,
Yeah.
beginning of the 1800s, of like truly a newborn country where you can start to really live it the way you feel you need to live it according to your own principles.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting, like you said, but it is different from Mexico or
Yeah.
like Malaysia or Thailand or even Costa Rica, because like a lot of times people say the American dream,
Yeah.
but here, like the Salvadoran dream, it's not the American dream. It's
No.
not, I'm going to work myself and I'm going to get up there and I'm going to achieve. It's like, as you said, impact. It's like, no, it's not just about me getting mine.
Yeah.
It's about, I can help so many others. I can raise everybody with me. And that's a big different mindset from saying Costa or even Mexico.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of great mission opportunities in Mexico to like help others and stuff. But there isn't the same safety and security in Mexico that makes it so the others are willing to take that risk to rise
Yes.
and accept the help and accept and look for that opportunity that you're wanting to participate in. And yeah, I think that's kind of like a little bit of how El Salvador is kind of different from other Latin American countries, and a little bit about what the real transformation that's happening here. And so what do you guys see after your 14 days of wow, all over the place?
Yeah.
And then even the few little meetings we got in there. What do you see as your possibilities in the future, possibly your aviation business in El Salvador?
So, tell you the truth, it's for me, it's almost like stepping back in time, not to a time when things were simpler, but just meaning that this is new. It's again that feeling that I used to have 12, 15 years ago when I was striking out on my own to start a business and be an entrepreneur. It's that revived
Adventure.
feeling, once again, where it's kind of like a newborn baby, where you're just excited about it again, and you're looking forward to everything. Sure, there's some mess and a little bit of noise that goes along with any newborn baby.
Any newborn.
But the opportunity itself, the willingness from the locals to interact, and again, I enjoy creating businesses. I enjoy being part of businesses that are meaningful, not necessarily to us, but to locals, and to provide opportunities, and help someone else achieve their goals and dreams as well.
Yeah.
So,
And I think we're kind of also growing in our own aviation business, where we've been consultants, and now we're growing into being maybe a larger facility where we are doing completions, where we are interacting more with the clients in that respect, not just commercial clients and that. So I think that is really exciting in that respect, because this is uncharted territory in some ways. Like, for him it's very common because that's his industry, but for me to see that, okay, well, how can I now take my skills, my HR background, and implement it into our new business that we're trying to create here? And that is really also fun and exciting that so
Yeah, so it's also your own kind of new personal adventure, personal journey. I think it's ironic that Don Quixote is sitting
Yes.
sitting right behind you.
Yeah.
And even though he was an old man, he had this vision and he had this longing for adventure, and he was ready to go out and find it, even in scenarios that were not necessarily adventurous.
yeah
But he went out there looking for the adventure, and then he took the resources and the things around him, and just created with it. And it's kind of like what you guys are saying, like in your own personal development. I mean, this is your new adventure.
And I'm finding also the government organizations that we've met with, they're really open to making this a reality, and they're enthusiastic about it. That means that this is something that the country needs and wants in that respect. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, like the more and more bureaucracy that's happening in Canada, in El Salvador, they're breaking down the bureaucracy walls.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's easier to get in to certain. I mean, you still need to know. Still need to know who to know to get all the way in, um, but they're actually looking for, okay, what do you need, and how can we help you come here? How can we help you as a business function better in our country? And that is definitely something that hasn't happened for a long time up north. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what is your tips or your suggestions to somebody that might be thinking about moving their business or might be looking at El Salvador for their future? What do you think for other Canadians out there?
Well, I would say definitely take your time, do your due diligence. If you're like us, that just shy of having your hair on fire, moving 60 miles an hour, is your idea of having fun. Uh, Look, any risk in life is obviously comes with the risk in itself, but the excitement of it is that you can do well calculated moves for betterment of your future, for betterment of someone else's future, and the opportunities are endless, right? So in places such as El Salvador, where they have taken such drastic measures in order to really change the trajectory of the country itself and provide a fertile ground for people to be able to come in and be their best selves and provide. I think this is the right place for anybody that's like that.
Yeah.
I really feel that.
Stay open-minded.
True. Yeah.
Because there's a lot that will challenge you from your own personal experience. Your prejudices will come into play big time. So when you have to work through those things, and you have to be able to just say, okay, yes, this is what it is, but is there a glimmer of hope? And if there is, grab hold of that glimmer of hope and push through, because it's worth it. So I think as tourists, or even just coming to scout out the country, that is the most important thing. Like, don't set expectations up here. Keep them very balanced, because you're going to be pulled and tugged in ways you've never thought you would be. So
yeah, and that's what makes it so great as far as a personal development standpoint, because I mean, once you're comfortable, once you've kind of made it, you're not worrying about paying your bills, you're not worrying about, you've got a certain level of liberty and luxury, then it gets to that point of, okay, where am I going to grow now? How am I going to grow now? And that, as you mentioned, it makes you start looking, instead of inwardly, to outwardly, of what about my impact? Like, what can I do to help others?
yeah, absolutely.
Since now, like, I'm good. And that growth naturally turns outward. And like you said, like, how can I use my gifts now to bless and impact others? And
Absolutely.
that's the Salvadoran dream. Of like, let's do it all together. Let's raise this baby together.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Absolutely.
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank
having
you,
us.
yeah.
It's been really great, and thank you for the opportunity and showing us around this beautiful place. And yeah, we encourage everybody that's interested, give it a shot. Come on down, have a pupusa or two or a dozen. It's up to you, but you're gonna love it. So,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
thanks so much.
Thank you.
I am Jenny, shining my light so you can shine yours. If you are interested or looking into what possibilities El Salvador might have for you, go to Living Like a Local down in the description, and we'll set you up with everything you need. See you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya.